Matthew Dodd appeared with Nicole Wallace, and he has a
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Berto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. As usual, you know how it goes, folks. We're going to have a great show for you today. Let me get a few things here queued up because I forgot to put the other cue in, but it's going to be a wonderful show. Anyhow, what have we got today? Welcome aboard. AVQ, Alistair Waters. How you doing? Mary Wood. Let's see who else is in the queue. Folks, if you're just getting in, if you're getting here, I see a lot of folks on let's see, Facebook. Go ahead and give us a like. If you are on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. We're about to get a whole lot going right now. Anyhow, let me get one other thing here queued up, and then we are ready to get busy. Ready to get busy. I need to close one window here, and then we'll be in business. Anyhow, folks, how is it going? How was your weekend? I trust your weekend was great. I had well, you know me, I had a workful weekend, but I enjoyed it because, this is what we want to do. This is what we want to do. Anyhow, I am doing it as we speak, getting a few things set up here. And as soon as I get that in my queue, I will be just fine. Who else just got in? Eric Hayes is here as well. Folks, thank you for being here. Give me one more second to get one last thing queued, and then we can get started with the program. You know how it goes. Sometimes you think you have everything ready for the queue, and the queue says to you, well, Egberto, yo no sé si estoy completamente listo para hacer todo esto. So I had to go ahead and, hey, come on, guys, help me out here. Help me out here. Where is that? Let's see. I need to go ahead and get into the queue, share to yours. All right, I need to get into the queue. Bear with me, folks. Bear with me as I try to get this thing shared. It's one of those days. I'm coming. I promise you, I'm about to get started. I am promising you, I'm about to get started as soon as I can get this link from the queue. I will be able to get started. And it seems like I will be about 30 more seconds to get this stuff going. And once I get it going in 30 seconds, we can say it's business. It's business. So let's see. One more. I said 30 seconds. I said 30 seconds and I meant 30 seconds. I said 30 seconds and I meant 30 seconds. Egberto, dijiste 30 segundos y estás cerca del 30 segundos ahora. Y voy a comenzar ahorita mismo. Vamos a ver qué pasa. Vamos a ver qué pasa, si lo voy a poder hacer. Si lo voy a poder hacer. Estoy casi listo, estoy casi listo. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. Bear with me on that cue. The cue is about to start. I'm about there. And the queue is started. Okay, welcome everybody. How's everybody doing today? I know you guys are doing great. Anyhow, let's get busy. Okay, Paul Fleming is checking in from ATL. All right, we're going to start with Rodney. We're going to read a few of them and cut some of them short because we got to get busy. We have a lot to cover. A new lawsuit broadband eyewitness blower shoots giant holes in Villanueva story about the incident of the head kneeling deputy, plus lots more in the way of alleged corruption by the LA County Sheriff. We know what he did recently when he tried to warn folks and kind of tell them, you guys are on notice because this is not really a Democratic county. But anyhow, you know how that goes. Let's see. Michael Rudden says John Oliver calls out the dirtiest kind of racism. Decades of racist housing and zoning policies have left Black Americans 3 times more likely to die as a result of pollution. John Oliver says the name of the game in politics these days seems to be less can you help the most people and more how much can you hurt the people your supporters hate the most. John Oliver was also talking about culture war nonsense issues, including Ron DeSantis' attack on Disney, Greg Abbott's border truck stop stunt, and Los Angeles County Sheriff Alex Villanueva covering up police brutality while attacking those. You know what? That is a very good concept that needs to be explored. I love that thing about how much can you put a hurt in on the people your supporters hate. That's an interesting thing. Boston ban on Christian groups flag the city hall illegal. U.S. Supreme Court rules unanimous ruling overturns appeals court decision on city's refusal to let Camp Constitution try flag featuring a cross event. Boston has said that requiring it to open the flagpole to all corners could force it to raise flags promoting divisions or intolerance, such as swastika or a flag of terrorist groups, which is true. James Cash comments, I think what is being failed to be mentioned is a third flagpole not state-sponsored. It's open to the public to fly whatever flag they want. If the city opens it up to the public, they cannot discriminate based on religion. Then, hey, Pastafarians, where are you? Put up a flying spaghetti monster flag. That is funny. 5 million layers snuffed as a avian flu hits. Wow. Layers snuffed. That's tough. Remembering enterprises down with HPAI virus, one of the methods that has been updated is how flocks are depopulated. A memo APHIs issued in January permits the use of ventilation shutdown, a system in which born ventilation shuts off temperature above 104, or then introduced. The birds die by inhuman. Ugh. No, we don't want to talk about that. Elon Musk hates government subsidies. His companies love them. A grid analysis of Musk companies shows more than $7 billion in government contracts alone. Deepest his No subsidies ideals, as companies usually operate pragmatically, maximizing their government tax breaks. Yeah, we know that. That's Elon Musk got his money from the government. Hey, what can I say? Fact check. My fellow CEO Mike Rondell tweeted the was back on Twitter after Musk's takeover. The tweet purporting to be from the My Pillow CEO was enough to convince tens of thousands of users that Lindahl was indeed back on Twitter. However, within a day, the account was found to be a fake and suspended. As pointed out by others, the account had not spent Lindahl's name correctly in his Twitter handle. The account was also unverified by Twitter. Great. Happy birthday to Ashley. Hello, everyone from Maywood. Lister Waters says, greeting everyone. Happy, let's see, how you doing, Eric? Eric says, question, it's widely reported currently people have disposable income to spend. Okay, you sent me that one. This is important what Eric Hayes sent. He sent me this message directly over the weekend. He is complaining that because of the stimulus, a lot of poor people and middle class people, they had a few extra money in their pockets, plus there were wage increases. And his question was, with this current picture, would you say the stimulus was needed? Yes. Yes. My answer to Eric, and I sent it directly. I was in the car going to Costco, and I had my phone on, and I spoke into the phone, and I said, when did you complain about the billionaires taking all the tax dollars from American citizens? When did you complain about when these high prices come for no reason? When you are paying more in gas, and that is just a transfer of money from you to shareholders, not to get more expensive petroleum, but a transfer of wealth. That's the rich people saying, we have the opportunity because you have more money in your pocket to charge you more. The paradigm of mental slavery says that you accept that. You accept that the wealthy say, oh, I see you have more money, so I'll just raise your prices on things that are critical for your survival. I will raise your prices. And you, Eric, think it's okay. You, Eric, think that, well, maybe we should just not give people relief after 40 years of not keeping up with inflation, after 40 years of the wealthy taking advantage of the monies that we made them both by innovation, by efficiency, and all these other things. I am sorry, I call pooey to that. Okay, let's go ahead and see what else we got here. Paul Fleming's checking in from ATL. Let's see. Paul Fleming says, if your religion says it's okay to hate, then you have the wrong religion. I agree. Egberto, that idea isn't new. Can you see? Which idea is that? Let's see what idea is he talking. I vote Republican because I may not have much, but Republicans will make sure others have less. Let me see if I can put that on the screen. I like that. I like that moniker right there. So what I want to do is I want to put that on the screen if I can remember how to do it. Let's see. I know I can remember how to do it. I just have to do it. There we go. There we go. There we go. And this is what Rudnin just placed out there. I vote Republican because I may not have much, but Republicans will make sure others have even less. Let me tell you, that is that is mental slavery, right? That is you thinking you cannot attain more, so you want to make sure that the others simply can't get to your level, even though you are striving for nothing more. You have accepted your enslaved state. Okay? That is a classic example. That is where a poor and low middle class Republican voter is. They're saying, I know I don't have the right to ask my politicians to make sure that I can succeed, and therefore, since I want to maintain a status higher than all the rest, I will continue to vote because my Republican politicians will make sure that the pilfer will continue on us all, but more on them. And I'm not saying this to be coy, I'm not saying this to be mean. That is just how it is. If I just explain to you that the reason I want more stimulus to the middle class, to the poor, is because their wealth and income have been stolen for decades. What you see Jeff Bezos have, he did not earn. That is what you worked for and got less for, and he kept it most, not all. He kept it very most. So that is my take. Thank you for that image there, though, Senor Radnin. That was a good image. Continuing, let's see. Bruce says, let's talk solutions. We have the solutions, Bruce. We know what the solution is, and that is what I am begging everybody who's listening to me to do. Solutions. Bruce is absolutely right. One of the things I have in my promo, one of the things I have in my book, as I see it, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right Wing Doom. I ask that you get that book. And the reason why is I do have solutions in there, and it all starts with us. The first part of our solution is to empower people for them to accept that, yes, their votes matter, and two, their minds matter. I am looking at everybody or seeing everybody that's listening to me right now. I want to check one other number here. I'm listening to everybody that listens to me right now. Okay? And there's one piece of information I want to tell them. Your minds matter, your voice matter, but if you don't believe that it matters, it doesn't matter, right? You have to go out there and tell yourself and believe that you can make a change. And that is not just hyperbole that I'm talking about here. In other words, I'm not just saying this, oh, to sound nice and to, you go to these motivational speakers and motivational speakers tell you things and you listen to what the motivational speaker has to say. And when he says something or she says something, it is nice, good feeling, but you go home and you're in the same state. I'm saying no. We still have the vote. We still have working legs. Even though they make it harder for us, we can still go out there and elect the people we want. The problem is the psychological warfare that's coming in that we have to mitigate, right? And that is what it's all about. All right, let's see. Paul Fleming let's see, replying. Eric Hayes, Paul Fleming is he is gone, not relatively right now. It all starts locally and works upwards. So I'm highlighting our great local leaders who let their self-interest go above the people. The truth of the matter is all politicians have a certain level of self-interest. The idea is how much do they allow to come down to the average American citizen? And if you are a Republican, it is virtually nothing. So that's where we're at. So going back to Bruce's topic, let's talk solutions. So yeah, let's talk solutions. Tom C says, no Mao way. With about 40 million acres of lawn in the US, what grows our yards is critical to feeding birds and insects. We need to think of property as a habitat for wildlife. Wait till June to mow. Oh, I didn't know that at all. So that's what no mow May means. No mow May means don't mow your lawns in May because we need to create the habitat for bees and other insects so that they can continue living. Thank you for informing us about that. I did not know. That's what I tell you. I have the smartest listeners in this on this planet because I learn all these things. I learn all these things from all of you. Thank you. Eric Hayes says high prices are related to the inflationary pressure that was started by administration, then Putin war, and now shut down in China. Read some of the company financial reports, and it says plainly. First of all, you're asking me to read the reports of a corporation who mostly, their reports are there to embellish their executives, etc. So when I look at these reports, I don't look at what the report says. I look at what the report doesn't say and how it comes to a conclusion. Like all these reports would talk about supply chain. But when a report talks about supply chain, they talk about a supply chain today. My question to them when they talk about supply chain is why didn't you have the insight? Why didn't your executives have the insight to understand that just in time inventory at the same time that you don't support mitigation factors to stop pandemics, at the same time that you don't ensure that you keep an educated local community that can ramp up quickly if your transportation system is hindered. Example, if you had a supply chain that wasn't just in time, a month or so supply, but had a 6-month supply then you would be able to mitigate these supply chain issues. So when they go and they put on a report, supply chain is going to cause inflation. It isn't the supply chain issue that caused that problem. It is your incompetence that did it, because the foresight that you should be making these big dollars for, that foresight was negligent. That is how you look at these issues. We are so enslaved mentally that very few times do we look at the genesis of what the problems really are. Welcome aboard, Melanie Keelan. Welcome aboard. All right, let's see. Eric Hayes, high prices are related to inflation. Okay, Egberto, the mentality is hatocracy. Crabs in a bucket keeping each other down until death. You know, there's a time that used to be a phrase in mostly minority communities, where if somebody in that minority community start to excel, as opposed to that person putting a rope down to bring everybody up, there's a tendency for everybody down to be that we have to mitigate. But that is a form of mental that is one of those forms of mental slavery as well. And again, mental slavery has nothing to do with physical, with a descriptive race or anything like that. It has everything to do with education and the thought process. As an example, when I grew up, I had great parents. That's all I can say. I had great parents, great middle class parents. My father was a fireman. My mother, for most of my life, or for the vast majority of my life, was a housewife. So it was, she took care of home. My father went to work as a fireman. He was the first Panamanian fire officer on the Canal Zone, the place controlled by Americans, where at that point in his life, there was still the rampant racism. He was the first one to become an officer on the Canal Zone as a fireman, right? And so we were a very middle class family, but I always remembered my parents were always putting in our brains that you were better than no one and no one was better than you. So that's the mentality that I grew up with. So when we talk about integrating the Panamanian schools and the American schools on the Canal Zone, that is the mentality I went to that school with. And a lot of us in the Canal Zone, that's what a lot of our parents taught us. So when we went over to these schools, we just excelled because, again, it is amazing. It is amazing how the external cues that affects the mind, how that affects kids for the rest of their lives. So that is the thing. Genesis, maybe the administration. No, not at all. All right, let's see what else we have here. Okay, until more people get here, I've got some other info for you. Let's go ahead and play our first video. It looks like we'll get to the videos early today because you guys didn't give me a lot of things right up front, which is good. Let's go ahead. The first video that I want to do, I want to just show you the collusion that was occurring between the administration and Fox News. A lot of people just think it's sort of not as bad as it is. So here we go with that, and then we'll take it on the other side. Once again, we get clear and present evidence that Fox News is nothing but the mouthpiece of Donald Trump. But actually, it's not just the mouthpiece of Donald Trump. What we found out is that they actually ran Donald Trump. Maria Bartiromo exposes that she is a Trump sycophant as she directs him, but she is also a fraudulent journalist. Let's check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Today, we continue to get new revealing text messages from Donald Trump's chief of staff, Mark Meadows. The latest messages show an unseen level of partnership between Fox News hosts and the White House. Just an hour before she was set to interview Trump live on the air in late November, Fox business anchor Maria Bartiromo text messages Meadows the question she planned on asking the president. Bartiromo wrote, quote, "Hi, the public wants to know he will fight this. They want to hear a path to victory. He's in control. First question, you said many times this election is rigged and the facts are on your side. Let's start there. What are the facts? Characterize what took place here." And here's what happened just an hour later.
Mr. President, you've said many times that this election was rigged, that there was much fraud, and the facts are on your side. Let's start there. Please go through the facts. Characterize what took place.
Verbatim, the same thing. There you go. She literally sent the question to Meadows before the interview. The best part also is that Bartiromo also gave this kind of pep talk before the interview. I'll quote again. Please make sure he doesn't go off on tangents. We want to know he is strong, he's a fighter, and he will win. For the record, Trump did not take her note on tangents.
No, he did not take her note. He also went off on a tangent. But that's not the real issue. The real issue is these people, this coup that occurred on January 6th was in the planning for a long time, and it had a whole lot of protagonists. And while we have a whole lot of low-level people that have been arrested and thrown in jails, it is evident that the people of power, the people that control the right-wing media, Donald Trump and all his sycophants are responsible for January 6th, and it's imperative that not only are these people shamed vociferously throughout the world, throughout America, and let people know what they've done, but it is important that they pay the price for what they've done. Over 5 people died for this attack on the United States, for this coup, for this insurrection, for this terrorist attack. So it is incumbent on us not to forget this, not to let them make this simply just a discussion, a difference in political opinion. This was a coup on the an attempted coup on the United States, and it must be treated that way. And the people who inflicted that damage on the United States must pay the price.
We spend absolutely must pay the price. And Daniel, he wasn't the chief of fire department. That position was only held for Americans. Thank you. So that's what we're talking about. They opened up the level of sergeant, and he ran. He took the test, got the test, and yeah, he got it. So no, again, he couldn't be the chief of the department. They didn't allow it. You know why? Because Panamanians couldn't. They couldn't be the chief of the department. So that answers your question right there. And by the way, I never play victim. I beat the system, even when the system was attempting to beat me. So no. I don't sit back there waiting for anything. When you read my next book on racism in America and how it affected me, not because I have a smile and I do everything like it was smooth sailing. I have a lot to tell, and my book have already started on that particular one, Senor Ledo. All right, let's see. Anybody else have any questions, any information needed? Well, since we are on time today's sort of we don't have a big crowd today. So, which means I get across a little earlier, which means also anybody else who want to go out there and throw some stuff there in the feed and say, Egberto, answer this, Egberto, answer that. Hey, I'm not going to miss that message. I do need to tell some of you, I have this program that brings the messages from Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and everything into one pile, and I see them all supposedly. The problem is there are sometimes that YouTube will eat certain messages and I don't see them. Please don't think that I'm ignoring you, or if you think I'm ignoring you, just put a message without a link or anything and say, hey guy, I've been trying to put this out or something. Because I heard some complaint about me not doing the message or whatever. A lot of times I just don't see it, or if the volume is too high, it must just go past me. But anyway, let me go ahead and do my ask.
I'm Egberto Willies, as host of Politics Done Right, a progressive radio media show on Pacifica Network's KPFT 90.1 FM Houston that engages all ideologies. I found that our political angst isn't mostly ideological. There is a well-designed effort by many in power to control us. If we are at each other's throats, we are less likely to demand our economic and local wishes. In that light, I wrote 3 books. I wrote the first one titled, As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, to describe the entire economy in a manner we can all understand. It highlights why it was designed to pilfer most as it empowers a few, the chosen. The second book, titled, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, take it to the next level. After understanding how the system pilfers, it is incumbent that we can speak to our peers to empower a change. The third book, How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It, gives us a place to land. After learning about our economy that is dysfunctional for most and learning how to engage the other side, we point out what would make an economy that works for all. Each book stands on its own, but together they provide the full picture. Please consider getting one or more. You will undoubtedly learn, be entertained, and help us continue the mission with our blogs, articles, videos, and books. I'm Egberto Willies, as host of...
Absolutely so. So please go ahead, folks, and consider getting the book. I ask you so kindly to go ahead and go to politicsdoneright.com/books, politicsdoneright.com/books, and you can pick up my books right there at Amazon. You can also go to politicsdoneright.com. If you're on YouTube right now, click that join button. Please become a member of our PDR posse on YouTube. Click that YouTube button, that join button. Alternatively, if you're on another platform, you can go to politicsdoneright.com/YouTube, politicsdoneright.com/YouTube to become a part of our PDR posse on YouTube. You can also support us via our Patreon, politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Patreon is spelled Patreon, Patreon. And the best way of support, of course, is PayPal, politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. I see Alistair Waters is in the house. Thank you so kindly for being a subscriber, Alistair. And we have, of course, several others like AVQ and Tom who's given, all the great folks. You guys are wonderful people for keeping this thing going. Politicsdoneright.com/PayPal is the way to support us on PayPal, either one time or through a monthly contribution, whichever is better for you. If you can say, I want to keep the truth online. I want to make sure that there's somebody like Egberto out there not fearful of what's going on, or not fearful to just tell everybody the truth. You know, I'm a plain spoken guy, just tell it like it is. So please go ahead and support us best you can. You can visit our store, support us at the store as well. I get a few pennies off of every t-shirt, cup, mug, everything. politicsdoneright.com/store, politicsdoneright.com/store. You can also support us, or all supporting, encompassing support, I guess I should say. You can find all the different links to support us at politicsdoneright.com/support, politicsdoneright.com/support. Thank you guys for being here again. Now let's get back to the program. Before I get to the other video, let's see what else people have said here. Para ver, ABQ says, I post all too much, so not every message will be read. Not every message will be read, but you know, you can also, I know you post a lot at your site. Put a link to your site that we can just let people come over there as well, AVQ. But I want everybody to know that all your input, everybody's input is absolutely appreciated. My lefties, my righties, my middleies, everything. I love you guys for what you do. To respond to Daniel Ledo, Daniel Ledo says, so it wasn't racial, so please retract your statement. There was rampant racism. You won't, you will hold on to that lie. It's not a lie. The canal zone, you can look it up. Please, that's what I always say. You can look up everything that I talk about. The canal zone, and this is enlightening for everybody. People need to understand this. A little bit about Panama, where I'm from. Panama was not a country. Panama was a province of Colombia. All right. The French were building a sea level canal in Panama under the auspices of Colombia. Now, they failed at building the canal because they didn't realize yellow fever, malaria, and some mountains, what they call the Cordillera de Tabasara. The Cordillera de Tabasara is a mountain range that goes right through the middle of Panama, okay? Goes right along the middle of Panama. They would have had to dig meters down to get a sea level canal. Engineering, United States engineering, which is great, right? They figured a way to build a canal using the mountains to build a canal. So what they did is they asked Colombia, we want to build a canal through Panama. Colombia said, nah, you know, they got to deal with the French and they weren't going to let the Americans in, etc. So I think it was Roosevelt went ahead and put a battleship off the coast of Colón. As some rebels in Panama decided to take over the province and declare independence. The United States of America was the first to declare, accept the independence declaration from Panama, and accepted Panama as an independent country. And then immediately Bonneville, a Panamanian, and de Lesseps, a French person, signed the Panama Canal Treaty, supposedly in perpetuity, to build a canal that would link the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean. And the engineering technique that they used was to use the Chagres River, a river that goes through the mountains, build a huge lake, the biggest lake at the time, the biggest man-made lake at the time. They built that lake in those mountains, right? And then they only had to dig the entrance from the Atlantic Ocean and the entrance from the Pacific Ocean. And the longest dig was called the Culebra Cut, Gaylord Cut in English, Culebra Cut in Spanish. And that cut was a heavy, deep digging for 8 miles, as opposed to having to dig for 50 miles. Okay, so that's what they dug and they built the canal. Now the canal had two forms of payment. And the reason I'm telling you this story is you won't necessarily see these all of the times, but it's important. And I have some time since there are a lot of people that hadn't showed up early. When they built this canal, they needed to bring people in. So they brought people, my ancestors, in from Jamaica, Barbados, Cuba, all these other places. They brought those folks, which were mostly black, into Panama to build this canal. That's how we became Afro-Latinos, right? They brought our parents into Panama and they segregated the Panamanians. They had two parts of the canal. They said, but when they built the canal, they said 5 miles on either side of this canal that they're building would be under U.S. management. It's still Panama under U.S. management, and they've paid a few $1 million to the Panamanian government. And that's another story I won't talk about today. But they paid a few dollars to the Panamanian government to have this land. Now, on that area in the canal zone, they brought apartheid to Panama. Panama has always had black people, all these people living I mean, yes, there probably always some sort of prejudice, but again, they were pretty much living together. They were called the Costeños and all of that. And then they brought the Jamaicans and the Barbadians and the Guyanans and all of that into Panama. And that formed a community. But those were segregated into an area called Silver Cities. So there were two cities. There were Silver Cities where they threw all the black folk, no matter where you came from, Panama, Colombia, Jamaica, wherever. And then they had the whites from America in there, in their own very luxurious types buildings, and they threw the other folks in shacks. Daniel Little wants me to say that in the canal zone there wasn't racism. Now, they fought. These different groups formed organizations and were fighting over and over again. All the things for the Panamanian folks, mostly black folks, were substandard. Our education system, the buildings and facilities were substandards. The teachers were exemplary. Okay? But they were all educated here in the United States mostly as well, or Spain. Spain or the United States. And so the teachers were good, but we always had substandard equipment and all that sort of stuff. So in my last 2 years of high school, by then, after fighting for a long time, where the parents in one school said they didn't want their kids going to school with us because we spoke differently, and you know what that really meant. And we looked different, we acted different. Finally, they integrated the schools for financial reasons. Again, partially financial reasons, cheaper than having two different school systems, separate but not equal. We even had that in the canal zone. So when Daniel Rideau says not racial, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Anyhow, so we had those two systems. We finally merged a school. Now, these kids that were supposed to be not good, the first year we went, my class was the first graduating class. Roberto Luis's class was the first partial. He's a member. He's from Panama as well. He's in the house all the time. His class was the first quasi graduating class because they went 6 months into the transition. We completed the first 2 years and we got out. So when I graduated, we ended with the first 14 positions, class rank, first 14 position. And that just spoke about our teachers saying, you guys are going to go over there and you're going to show them that you guys are worthy. It's not we were better than anybody else or anybody else was better than us. It was that we were worthy. So I come from a culture where we were always told, you are just as good. You're no better, but you're just as good. And you go out and act that out. In a racism or not, you go out and you do it. And if you take a look at all of those folks that came out of my class, those that have moved over here to the United States, those that have stayed in Panama, that has always been the characteristic. So no, Ledo, I'm sorry, you're wrong. All right, let's continue. Michael Ron says, Berto, my Facebook account is basically dead. Okay, you need another account. What cartels are there in Panama? I don't know. That's immaterial. Daniel Ledo says, do you really expect us to believe you don't play the victim? I don't play the, no, I don't play the victim, but you do. Most of Trump's people play the victim. You guys talk about the people are, last thing I heard is that white men were under attack. Hey, brother Cox, do you feel that way? Brother Tom C, do you feel that way? You see, Tom C and these guys are great folk. They don't feel that way. Oh, Tom tells me, Egberto, you better announce this week is Ask Egberto Anything. Oh, I love you, Tom, for reminding me about that. So therefore, I want to remind all of you today that this weekend is Ask Egberto Anything, okay? How do you get to Ask Egberto Anything? You go to the link, politicsdoneright.com/Ask Egberto, politicsdoneright.com/Ask Egberto. Please go ahead and sign up for it. We're going to have a great one like we always have. Daniel Edo says, do you really expect? No, I read that one. Interesting from Eric Hayes. Daniel Edo says, everybody is racist. Arg, racist. Starting to sound a bit unhinged, Egberto. No, I'm not. But you are starting to sound delusional, my brother. If you are living in a different land, you may be living somewhere else. I don't know. They're teaching you not to think anymore. What can I say, my brother? Rodney says, Daniel Edo, when you fail to accept the history of racism after it's been described to you, what do you think that makes you? That's why I love the way you write, Mr. Rudnin. That was right. Egberto, I believe that zero-sum fallacy thinking pervades the right when you uplift the poor. The whole economy improves, and then there's more for everyone. Absolutely. Roberto Luis says, Saludos, Politics and Right. Happy birthday. Feliz cumpleaños, Ashley. Lou presented Ashley today with a video montage from the time from she was young right up till she got into medical school, right up until she got her first and second stroke. Roberto Luis is my daughter's godfather, and that is a godfather of godfathers. That's all I'm going to tell you. I'm telling it to my whole Politics and Right audience. That guy that you see just came in there, Roberto Luis. He gives my daughter the love of a father. Thank you, brother, for that. I came to tears when I saw you put that thing together from the beginning to the end. That was beautiful. Hola PDR peeps from let's see. Hola PDR peeps from Bridge MCP. She says. She says, "Happy birthday, Ashley. Thank you for wishing my baby a happy birthday, Bridge." Whoa, Robert, awesome gift. Hey, Bridge, go to my page, to my not my page. Go to my wall and look down in all the happy birthday messages for Ashley, and look for Roberto Luis or Robert Lewis. I don't know if he used his English name or his Spanish name. And see that montage that he did. It was beautiful. Thank you, hermano. Muchísimas gracias. Tú sabes que te quiero mucho. All right. Eric Hayes says, uplifting the poor is needed, but is eliminating or reducing the middle class needed as it is now happening? No. I love that you said that, Eric. You're absolutely right, Eric. Eric, let's explain something because I love you for what you just said there. And let me tell you why. You get half of the picture. The half that you've missed is what we have to fight. The plutocracy is doing something here. It has the have-nots fighting for the little the have-some have. I repeat, the have-nots are fighting the have-some, and the have-somes are trying to protect everything away from the have-nots because they feel if they give it to the have-nots, they will be a part of the have-nots. That's the problem. The problem is our educational system. The problem is the Powell Manifesto has made the have-some believe that that is all there is. And what we do at Politics Done Right is to tell the have-some that there is so much more, because the only reason you are a have-some is that the plutocracy has either made sure you can't have more. They have taken your ability to get it, or they have given you the belief that you cannot attain it. You want specific examples? Here is a specific example. The Biden administration wants to have something called Build Back Better. Within Build Back Better, it's not as good as we wanted it to be because we want to include Medicare for all. If we got something like Medicare for all, those people who are working with who have their intellect stolen by the plutocracy, they will quit their jobs because they are no longer tethered to the job for health care. They're no longer tethered to the job for a menial wage. And they'll say, I will create in a free enterprise system my own success. Because while I'm building my success, I can grow. But what the plutocracy is saying is one, we don't want to give Medicare for all because it's a danger to corporations having to pay more to keep these people, to give these people reasons to want to work for them. They want to take it all. We are saying no. If our government was we the people, we could ensure that everybody could build their own worth if they want to. If they decide they just want to do or work for somebody else, they could, and that's what it's about. So Eric Hayes, you got half of it right, brother. When you say why do we have to pull down the middle class to bring up the poor? That's the wrong question. It's why do the plutocracy, why do the wealthy keeps their boot on the neck to prevent the rest from coming up? And it is my job as an activist, it is my job as a host to try to change the mindset of people from thinking that that is all. I could look at let me tell you what I've done several times. What I've done several times is somebody will come to me and say, "Hey, this is what I do." And let me give an example. A friend of mine, I won't say who it is because it's not ready yet. A friend of mine said, "Hey, I wish I could do XYZ." I said, "You can do it, but I didn't know you could do that." A lot of other people would love to do that too. They would love to learn that. Write a book. Talk to other people on how they can do that. And the person was like, I never thought about that, but I can't do that. Nobody's going to, a publisher, I'll have a hard time finding a publisher. To which I tell them, I never even attempted to find a publisher because we can now self-publish. The tools are there now to self-publish. And you don't have to ask somebody to invite you into the publishing club. You are already in the publishing club. So I'm out there. I'm not doing this on Politics Done Right all the time, but I talk to tons of people. I would have people who say, "Hey, how are you doing that? How did you do the graphics?" And I help a lot of people through create these things, right? And it's not that I'm not charging anything for this. I said later on I'm going to create a how to video that I hope to market as well to bring some money into the fold, right? But what I'm talking about is empowering people. Somebody told me the other day, I would like to learn. I mean, I do a lot of cooking. I do a lot of videos on this. I'm like, then there are a lot of people who would love you to show them, and they'll give you a few dollars to help them do it. Because right now, they may have to go to a school and pay thousands of dollars. They may go to your series and end up paying, $10 a video or something like that and do it. There are so many ways that when we are empowered, when we don't feel that we can leave a corporation, that it stifles us. One of the things that I put out there is, first of all, is let's not be cheap with ourselves. Okay, AC Rodriguez, welcome aboard. Let's see. I think AC Rodriguez told someone. Let's see. Egberto, I believe that the zero-sum fallacy thinking pervades the right. Not only the right, though. I'm sorry, not only the right. A lot of other people. Let's see what else. Eric says uplifting the poor needed, but is okay. That I read that already. The middle class is disappearing because of the greedy rich. Thank you, Breach. You're absolutely right. Give an example of a policy. Let's see, of a policy replying MCP Empire. Let's see. AP Rodriguez says by the administration. Thank you, Rodriguez. I think. Ken Ashkan, welcome aboard. Build Back Better would not be necessary if the corporate overlords would realize that a portion of the growth and productivity belongs to the workers. The largest sport. Look, the people in the upper offices of the corporations do nothing. Okay, they're like running around. The people who do the work, they're the one who deserve most of the spoils. But capitalism teaches the reverse. And the reason they have to keep you uneducated is that when you get educated and find out why am I the one doing all the work and they get all the spoils, what makes that person who owns stock more valuable than the person who create what that stock is all about? It's reverse thinking. And to believe it, you have to be devalued. So what capitalism teaches you is to devalue yourself and then it succeeds. What I'm here to do is empower us all. We empower each other, then empower us all and move it forward, right? That is the magic. That is what it's all about. That is what we should, wow, that is what we should be doing. Okay, Tom C says the Biden administration is trying to expand the middle class. Plutocracy and the GOP are trying to shrink the middle class. Exactly. Egberto, as it comes to publishing, if you want to write a book, you might need a professional publisher assistance. If you just want to get your work out there in your choice of digital form, the internet is just waiting for you. I beg to differ completely, my dear brother Michael. You said if you want to publish a book, you may need a professional. No, they you would have the belief that uh, publishing is some magical thing. You need a professional. Look, if you want a book that is 100% grammatically safe, which most aren't, but even some of the most crafted books aren't, but you can do it all yourself if you want to put the work into it. You do not need a publishing professional at all. And I say that categorically after publishing 4 books. 4 books. You do not need, you can market it yourself, you can write it yourself, and if you decide, and you can determine how much of the standards you want to follow that is a defined standard. Here's what I'm talking about. Who says a book must follow a particular design format? Oh, the system told you that. That's what they want. You are buying into a system if you agree that all books must follow the same methodology. I am saying no. Some books, if you want to follow a certain methodology, go for it. If you want to have your book a cookie cutter that's done by a professional, by all means do it. I am telling most people you don't have to. I'm telling most people if you are out there that with a book that you want to do something with, you can do it and you can do it yourself. And to put it bluntly, I prefer books that are done by people themselves, as long as they put some care into the book, meaning get a proofreader. One of my books was proofread by El Senor. He's on the Amazon. If you take a look at Amazon and you look up Bruce Pollard, my book is going to show up because he was the editor of my book. Norman would show up on, he was a voiceover on another one of my books. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Okay, AC Rodriguez says, Eric, your argument would hold weight if you could give examples. I mean, Eric right now simply talks what he hears somebody else says. And what I'm trying to do with Eric is also build some trust so that he can understand that what's happening is that pretty much he's been lied to. He's pretty much been lied to. All right, we have 5 minutes to go, and the next video is 4 minutes and 7 minutes. In talking to you guys about tilling the Panama Canal, I let those 2 slides, so I'll play those 2 tomorrow. So right now then, Snack Panther is here. I didn't see Snack Panther. Where's Snack Panther? See, I'm missing messages. Snack Panther usually have something good to say. So let's see if I can find Snacky Doo. Let's see, Snacky Doo, where are you? Let's find Snack Panther. If I can find Snack Panther, where are you? Let's see. Okay, Snack Panther say, has run death scientists ban your books already? Snack Panther, behave yourself. Behave yourself, Snack Panther. Okay, folks, I have 4.5 minutes left. So the rest of the show is yours. I did more talking than I expected to, which means two videos didn't get shown. So why don't you tell me something else you want me to talk about right now within these last few minutes? Stick it into the feed right now and I'll talk about it. But in the interim, I want to say some other things that I'm going to be covering this week. One of the things that I covered is today that I was supposed to play today was what Matthew Dowd had to say about the Democratic Party, Republican Party, and that the country is more democratic. And I wanted to build on that, not on his particular piece, but I wanted to build on why it is that poetic justice, or not poetic justice, self-fulfilling prophecies. The Democrats losing in 2022 is nothing more than a self-fulfilling prophecy. They can choose. I didn't show the Fox News video. Yeah, I did show the Fox News video. That I did show that one. A self-fulfilling prophecy of losing in 2022. I can't. I look at all the numbers and I look at all the things that needs to be done. And I can't see us lose in 2022. I mean, everybody's doom and gloom. Mostly it's history because of what happens, right? Now we have a crazy Republican Party. We have a Republican Party that is a clear and present danger to the country. We have a Republican Party that is a terrorist organization. And we fear that most Americans are going to vote terrorists into office. I don't see how that can happen except for political malpractice. And what I'm seeing a lot of right now is political malpractice. Because I tell you, I would, right at this point in time, I would have Democrats flooding rural areas because the people are the parts of this country in dire straits right now are rural areas, and they are in dire straits because of those who are voting against their interests. I would be sending people in West Virginia. Egberto, you are better man than I. Run short on tolerance of disingenuous, opinionated BS. But I'm trying, sir. You're an inspiration. Thank you so kindly, AC Rodriguez. Let me tell you, folks, this is important. I would be in rural areas. I would be at hospital. Well, I tell you what, I'm saving this for later on in this week because I want to give the blueprint as I see it. Notice, remember I have a book called As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right Wing Doom? Well, this is going to be As I See It, this is what Democrats need to do to win 2022. But it's not that I'm an optimist. I just can't see how you can be given such a good hand and lose. I don't see it. You've allowed the media to talk crap. I don't know if you guys saw the correspondence dinner, but I mean, I thought it was great. But we have so allowed the narrative to be designed wrong. Them promote practical programs that take us to the moon and would give us Medicare for all, while the GOP makes pie in the sky proposals that take us to the cleaners by privatizing government for profit. Who could have said that any better than Tom C? Let me put that link in there again, folks. Sign up for Ask Egberto Anything. Please go to politicsdoneright.com/Ask Egberto. It's free. You can come in and talk to me. We have these great chats, and it's always great because everybody, whether you're from the right or the left, you come. They come and we talk. And it's civil. We are not fighting and shouting over each other. And because we understand what we're all about here. We're all about really communicating. That's what it's all about. Hey guys, I love you. Thank you so kindly for having been here. Let's see if I have another message to read. Maywood says, Eric Hayes, well, according to the neoliberals and libertarians, yes, where else is massive wage and wealth disparity supposed to come from? Uplifting the poor will only help the middle class. The only ones who might get a tiny little less is the super wealthy. Exactly. So I got to get out of here, but folks, please remember to support us. Go to politicsdoneright.com/PayPal, politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. Give us whatever support you can. Let me see if I can find that. politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. If you want to find the all-encompassing way to support us, go to politicsdoneright.com/support. Don't forget to visit our store as well. politicsdoneright.com/support. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.